This episode of the Linux Action Show is brought to you by DigitalOcean and by Ting. Go to last.ting.com and save $25 off your first device or your first month of service. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Linux Action Show, episode 347. My name is Chris.
My name is Matt.
Hey, Matt. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Are you ready for me to tell folks about the big show?
I sure am.
All right, well, coming up on this week's episode of the Linux Action Show, it is a big show. Coming up in the second half of the show, Stefano, the founder and developer of the Mate project, joins us to talk about what's coming up, the transition to GTK3, and if it's a major load to keep that project going when the other desktop environments are blazing their own trail. So we cover that, and he's calling in from Italy, too.
Oh, I know. That was cool.
It is really cool. In the news segment, we're going to highlight the best gadgets from CES that ran Linux. Turns out, 1 in 1. Some of the best stuff at CES is Linux-based, and that's by a mile. I cannot wait to show you some of the cool, crazy things that run Linux, whole new categories this year. We'll cover that in the news segment, and then in the feedback segment. 2014 was a big year for Jupiter Broadcasting.
It was.
But one thing didn't really go all that well. In today's episode, we will announce the righting of that wrong. Make sure you watch the end of this week's episode. We have a huge announcement that you will not want to miss, and I think you're going to be very stoked. But first, Matt, it is our picks.
Our picks.
And because it is CES week, it seems only appropriate to start with a CES pick. Last year, I let them slide. They went under the radar as far as the big show was concerned. NVIDIA was up on stage boldly demoing their latest inventions using Linux. Well, this year, it's really interesting. Not only are they up there using Linux again for their demonstrations, but the type of technology that they're enabling with Linux is a little mind-blowing. So I'm going to show you a little bit from the NVIDIA presentation. I'll play just the start of this clip. I don't think we're going to see any Linux in this clip, but I think it gives you a good idea of what the talk was about.
So let's show it to you now. Okay, we're going to show you deep learning. We've trained, before you start, we've trained over the course of the last couple of weeks, just a couple of weeks, we've trained Tegra X1 to recognize some things that you see on the roads. This is all trained with deep learning, and it's running on a deep neural network that's running on TX1. Okay, guys?
And that is powered by Linux. Okay, so now we jump ahead, and if you look really closely, I think for our audience, it's already a given. You can see the Ubuntu menu up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just gotta look for it.
But if we watch right here, so this part of the demonstration, this is a car that is using GPU-powered deep neural learning, running on top of a Linux software platform. And as you go, you'll see that this camera in this car is identifying all of the different lights, all the different objects on the road. You can see here it's identifying this as a red light, green light, unknown state.
Cops.
The fuzz. And if you watch closely, you'll get a little Linux flashed in your face.
Early for ADAS systems. So they actually fall out of the classifier. So we know it's a type of light, but we haven't been able to classify it down to the next level in this specific case. But the ones that are head-on, are the ones we concentrate on. Those are the ones we concentrate the training system on.
Just a couple of seconds.
Some of those unknowns, I'm going to come back and talk about in just a moment. Keep going.
Here it comes. And boom.
Oh, there it is.
You see it?
Particularly
a little bit of a flash there.
As they switch over modes, you saw the traditional Ubuntu.
They were pretty
desktop.
slick about it.
Yeah. How exciting is this, though? Just like Linux is now the platform of default. You're going to build a deep neural learning network powered by GPUs that makes automated driving possible?
Exactly. And they're no longer hiding it. They're no longer hiding behind the desktop, just ignore it. Don't look here. Don't look here. Look here.
That's been a big transition since this show has been on the air. Is people were not ashamed of running Linux.
No.
But they definitely were not very. It was an implementation detail. Don't worry about that. It's still to that to a degree, but that sort of shunning hiding it has gone away.
There's default desktop. The menu's not being hidden out or disappearing or anything like that. I really like that.
Well, and of course, at an event, at a conference, at a keynote like this, at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, you don't want anything to go wrong.
No, you don't want a certain blue screen situation like you might get at some Microsoft conferences. You don't need that.
Very good point. And I think that's what they see, which to me, but to get to get to that realization, you internally have to be so comfortable with Linux that when it's one of your most critical deployment and you're advertising to the entire world, you're right now NVIDIA is trying to sell an entire industry on their technologies. They say they want to sell a supercomputer for your car. Don't go with these low-powered, slow systems. Get an NVIDIA-powered systems running on Linux that are crazy fast, and they're making this whole case to the world right now at CES as all these manufacturers are looking at what technology they want to use. And when they're giving this critical, like, future of their company kind of presentation, they're doing that on a Linux desktop, and this is the second year in a row they've done it.
Another advantage I think that they've spotted pretty early on is I think they realize when they're using the Linux desktop, they're able to dig deep and actually customize everything to work how they want.
I wonder
not how it's assigned to them.
I wonder if Ubuntu on the desktop indicates maybe on the back end they're using Ubuntu as well.
I kind of wonder.
Speaking of back end, Matt, get yourself ready, pull up the couch, and take a look over at DigitalOcean.com. Head over to DigitalOcean.com right now. And while you're there, why not check out their awesome tutorial section? Even if you're not a DigitalOcean customer, just a Linux user, I think there's something there for you to glean. And if you have something to contribute, DigitalOcean will pay you for that. So head to DigitalOcean.com right now. And while you're there, also have our promo code ready. Now, we've got a brand new promo code. I'm actually really excited. We've got a new promo code that's going to last us for the rest of the year.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. So we're not going to... Oh,
right.
Wow.
But for one last episode, just because I have a soft spot for it.
Just for giggles.
I love it so much because it sounds so funny to use it in the month of January.
Why not?
Last December.
Yes.
Well, I'll give you the new promo code next week. Go over to DigitalOcean. Last December, get a $10 credit at DigitalOcean. Now, why would you want a $10 credit? Because DigitalOcean is a simple cloud hosting provider dedicated to offering the most intuitive and easy way for you to spin up your own cloud server. You can get started in less than a minute, and pricing plans start only $5 a month for 512 megabytes of RAM, a 20 gigabyte SSD, 1 CPU, and a terabyte of transfer.
Boom.
And DigitalOcean has data center locations in New York, San Francisco, Singapore, Amsterdam, and London. And they got data center reporting pictures on their Google Plus account and their Instagram feed, which is awesome. I love looking at those. But really, if you're watching the video version, you're looking at it right now. This is actually the interface to manage your DigitalOcean droplet. I got a tweet over the weekend. Like, I've been listening to Chris Lass rave about DigitalOcean. I actually went over there, set it up, and I can't believe how awesome it truly is. And as a longtime system administrator, I'm just in awe of what they've designed. They took something that seemed obvious, Linux and KVM, an obvious winner for this space. And then they made an early bet, because this was years ago, on SSD drives. They said we have to have the fastest I/O possible. That way we can get the density for our customers up. That way when you spin up a droplet, you don't need a whole RAID array. No. You're SSD powered. And that is so critical. And then on top of that, of course, they had to smack this great interface, incredible customer service, and a great community. And then you can take advantage of that great community because they have an API that's already being written, like so many apps for you to take advantage of by the community right now, or you can write your own app, snap it into your management infrastructure, all kinds of things. DigitalOcean.com and use the promo code. Last December for one more time. Go try it out. And you get that $10 credit. You don't have to pay anything for 2 months, not even a credit card on file. DigitalOcean.com, promo code last December for one more time. Let's rock the support for the show and thank DigitalOcean for their great support and support over 2015, too, by using our retro promo code.
Good stuff. You know, I've actually gone back and have had to actually when I'm pulling people off of other hosts, it's a real eye-opener as to just how great DigitalOcean's control panel is.
Oh, man, I know.
It's like,
it's like you get in a time machine when you go to the other ones.
That's to be kind. Some of them are just masochism. I mean, it's just horrible. It's like, you want to switch off? Yeah. Okay, well, you're gonna have to use this phone call thing, geez. And then you got to sit on hold while we sales pitch you for half an hour.
Oh my gosh!
And why would you want to spend $5 a month when you can spend $50 with us? It's great.
Let's transfer you to the retention expert, please.
I got a retention something. Oh my gosh! Yeah. So there's no contest.
Yeah. Last December, DigitalOcean.com. All right. So on the Linux Unplugged, I think in the pre-show even, we were just kind of loosely talking about some great audio editors. And I was saying, I like Ardour a lot, but I'm starting to feel like I'm hitting a wall. And I got a great suggestion.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. In fact, I'll thank the submitter because it came into the subreddit, so it's real easy to pull up. It came in from Art of Music. How appropriate is that?
Wow.
It says, Chris Lass says that Audition is great for multi-track editing. Well, Q-Tractor might fit his needs. It doesn't import video directly. That's fine. It has some clip management. and it may be worth a test, but it does use Jack, so be aware. Yeah. It's in Arch's main repos, and you can grab it right now with some plugins. And he linked me to it, so I went over and checked it out, Matt. And it looks pretty damn impressive. Yeah. And so this is definitely one over the week that I will try out and probably be editing a future episode of Women's Tech Radio in. This is, at least from the UI standpoint, it looks exactly what I was kind of wishing Ardora was doing. And I love the fact that it's based on QT
that looks
as well.
like Pro Tool. I mean, it really does.
Really does. And so it's QTractor, QTRACTOR.sourceforge.net. I'll have a link in the show notes.
I like the name.
Look at these screenshots. Does that not just look perfect?
And first of all, whoever did this, thank you for taking good screenshots.
Yeah.
That actually are full featured and the parts that I care about.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
and
great.
Of course, it runs on Windows as well, I believe.
Yeah,
but
and that's great.
I don't know if I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, what's this Windows you speak of?
I don't. Never even heard of it. Never even heard of it. Well, thank you, Art of Music, for sending that in. I want to do a spotlight. After our picks, our desktop picks, sometimes I just want to spotlight an open source project or a distribution. And this week, it seems obvious. It's something that we've all used. We all know of it. grep. But this week marked 40 years of grep.
Whoa.
Yeah. The Unix command line utility that searches the input files for patterns and prints lines that contain the pattern. You probably already know that, though. Mm-hmm. grep was written by Ken Thompson, the same guy who wrote Unix. Grep first appeared in Unix 4 with limited features compared to today's grep. And the other thing that's really interesting that's revealed in this article that I've linked in the show notes, grep was a private command of Ken Thompson's that he just kind of held on to before he made it public. Like, he developed grep on his own in the private for himself. So he says it's kind of the wrong birthday. But it landed in Unix version 4 on 1973.
Wow, the year I was born. Well, a little before me, but yeah.
Wow.
It's the same year as I was. So that's cool. So it's like I have something in common with a Unix command. That's neat.
That is really... When you think of the history that Unix has...
Well, I think we take it for granted. I know for a fact we take, all of it for granted, really.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of makes Windows look like a punk kid.
It really does. Well, it is a punk kid. I mean, it's this whining little teenager. It's all, I'm going to throws a fit.
Throws a blue screen tantrum.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? I'm going to throw a Balmer-created blue screen at you.
And currently it's going through that awkward identity crisis phase where it tried to get all crazy and party, and now it's trying to get itself ready for business because it has to go into the big scary world.
Well, and it's like Windows. Put down the eyeliner, lose the the Stay Puff perm purple crap you're putting in your hair, and let just grow up. Just grow up.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, just one quick plug here for jupiterbroadcasting.com/lastpicks. All the picks we've covered in the shows, getting added there. More room for contributions, but it's filling out really nicely.
That is so
and
cool.
You can also run your own fork of it and keep your own list for yourself.
Ooh,
for whatever you'd want. Like, if you're like a squirrel and you just like to stash stuff.
DigitalOcean, that bad boy.
Yeah, put it up on a droplet. Why not?
There it is.
That's a good idea.
That's what I do with everything.
Yeah, I know.
Grocery lists, all.
Yeah. jupiterbroadcasting.com/lastpicks. All right, Matt.
Okay.
Let's do the news.
Hey, it's the news, and this episode is brought to you by
Ting.com, Matt. Ting is mobile that makes sense. Ting is my mobile service provider and Matt's mobile service provider. Why? Because Ting is only pay for what you use. They just take your minutes, your messages, and your megabytes, and they just charge you for whatever you ended up using. You don't pay into some huge arse plan.
Ew.
It's like a bunch of minutes and data you'll never use. And they have no contract, thus no early termination fee at all. It's a flat $6 for the line, and then it's just your usage on top of that. Go over there and try out their savings calculator. Over 2 years, which I'm just now crossing my 2-year marker. I just crossed a little bit ago. I've saved about $2,200.
Oh my gosh.
$2,200.
That's
by
crazy.
to Ting.
That's money going to other things that are important.
And Ting's just getting better. In February, they're going to be rolling out GSM support. So if you're like me and you got the Nexus 5, you can have CDMA and GSM under one account. It's super slick too. And don't worry, Ting's going to have all the management tools you might need because they have an incredible dashboard. And if you ever have any questions or get stuck, they have no hold customer service at 1-855-TING-FTW.
Nope.
But Matt, over the 2014 year, Ting had some pretty kick-ass app picks.
They sure did.
And Kyra's here to round them all up in her style with Ting's top 5 Android app picks for 2014.
We took a look at a lot of great apps this year. Here's a few of our favorites. I'm Kyra, and this is Ting's top 5 apps of 2014.
Yeah, it is. Woo! Hey, fireworks. That's nice.
I like it.
First on our list, Anavo Extend helps you take control of how your phone accesses mobile data. If you're on a phone plan with a small data cap, or you're on Ting where using less means you pay less, this app can save you some serious coin. Anavo Extend is available for Android and iOS. While many smartphone apps are all about connecting with as many people as possible, Couple is about connecting with just one person. This app lets you share a private chat between just the two of you, and is full of cute ways to let your significant other know you're thinking of them. Couple is available on Android and iOS.
Aw, isn't that adorable?
Live the dream, become a goat, perform crazy goat stunts, and explore an open sandbox world. Words can't really describe what this app is all about.
Love that
but
game.
It is, as the publisher promises, the latest in goat simulation technology. It's available for iOS and Android, and it's a lot of fun. Simplify your smartphone screen. Wiser is tailor-made for those that feel the standard smartphone just has too many buttons. If someone in the family is confused by their Android phone, Wiser might be the perfect solution. Seems you guys agree. Wiser was the most viewed app of the week video in 2014. Adjust your phone screen's brightness and color temperatures the day wears on. Twilight lets you use your phone into the night without worrying about frying your eyes.
Yeah, Twilight.
We've all heard that using bright screens before bed can interrupt our natural circadian rhythm. Twilight aims to offset this effect.
Yeah.
On behalf of myself and everyone here at Ting, thanks for watching. It's been a great year, and we look forward to seeing you in 2015.
Great work, Kyra.
Good
Keep those
stuff.
app picks coming. We love them. Last.ting.com. LAS.ting.com. That'll take $25 off your first Ting device. If you have a Ting-compatible device, well, then you get a $25 credit. Plus, Ting has an early termination relief program. If you're in a contract right now, I feel sorry for you, son. But guess what? They're going to help you get out of it with an early termination relief. They're going to apply that towards your account. You might end up going a couple of months without paying a cellular phone bill at all, while having a full-featured smartphone doing everything you want, like the hotspot and tether. And last.ting.com. Big thanks to Ting for sponsoring Linux Action Show.
Yeah, we tried Twilight on my phone, and I had my wife using it for a little bit, and she still snores, so it didn't have the effect that I was looking for.
That's not what it fixes.
No,
Matt.
she still sounds like a chainsaw.
No,
but,
for that, you just put a pillow over her head. That's what
yeah. Well, I tried telling the judge that, but that didn't work out.
Oh,
Anyway.
all right. Well,
Okay.
we'll step away from that and talk a little bit about Linux at CES. Huge year for Linux.
Huge.
Let's start with one of the ones that people were talking a lot about online. The next generation rifle powered by Linux. We talked about the first generation years ago when it first came out. Yeah, this is a big killer gun that runs Linux.
That's awesome.
So take it for what it is. But it is actually, the details are kind of amazing. It can fire around up to 1,800 yards at a target moving 30 miles per hour.
Boy, I haven't been sport shooting in years, but I will tell you that just knowing I'm running one with Linux involved in its situation, that's cool.
It's the extremely advanced Linux software that makes that kind of precision possible. The 1,800-yard range is 50% farther than the one we've talked about before. Yeah.
Well,
that's quite a
1,800
bit.
yards, I mean.
They attribute that to new hardware and more advanced software builds. Tracking Point isn't talking precisely how it tweaked the software, but it says that the software is a big part of it.
Okay.
The company's also building a new set of rifles at lower price points and lighter weights, chambered with smaller ammunition, with ranges of 600 yards, with pricing starting around $8,000.
If I had $8,000 and that's a lot of money still. That's pretty crazy. Wow.
But if you're a government that loves to spend money,
especially other people's.
Have at it. So anyways, fascinating. So there is a device out of CES that was shown off. I would imagine, as far as demos go, that's probably a pretty crazy booth.
Oh, yeah. And it's probably a booth that is going to be set up with sandbags to where you can lay down prone.
Oh, my gosh.
That would actually be very cool. I would totally check that out.
Now, what I want is the consumerized version of this to come to laser tag. I just want this to come to laser tag.
I know, right?
Then I'm
Oh,
good.
God, I used to love laser tag. Good times.
All right, Matt. This one I thought was pretty interesting, and we talked about it on Tech Talk today, and then we got more details about the planned Linux support. At CES, Dell unveiled a new high-end XPS business laptop line. Now, you remember the Sputnik series of laptops?
Yeah. Also known as the, I remember that.
This is an update to that. Now, here's a couple of interesting things about this laptop. Almost edge-to-edge screen, which is interesting. It'll come with a touch option available. They've managed to fit a 13.3-inch screen in an 11-inch housing because of normally the bezel around the screen adds more. Yeah.
Right.
So they've managed to clean that up. They're claiming, at least under Windows, I don't know about Linux, 15 hours of battery life.
Yeah, see, this is where Dell loses me every time. Oh, yeah, it's great. Under Windows, it has 15 hours of battery life.
Yeah,
we're doing
I know.
Linux too, but
I know.
under Windows,
In fact, so here's what we
Really?
do know. The XPS 13 and XPS 15 will be launching. They'll come with Windows 8.1 by default, but you'll have an option to get a developer's edition with Ubuntu. Sources close to Dell said this Linux-powered model will appear in February. So the
Okay.
Windows versions are
Okay.
shipping. Again, this is another thing. I'm not to get on Dell's case here because I think this is a step in the right direction for Dell. Like this actually looks like compelling hardware. Like it's got
attractive looking, certainly.
It's got a fantastic resolution on the screen.
Right.
It's hard capped at 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is a little low for me. So that's a bit of an issue.
But being Dell, it's like, we'd like to take a chance and actually do something that would set us apart from the other trillion different manufacturers out there. But we can't seem to can't seem to get it done.
For example, it would be nice if Dell would ship with Linux day one. Like, why the hell not? You don't have any OEMs upstream holding you up from trying it out as you develop the hardware. In fact, you have early access to it. You could start working with. In theory, you could have access. You have access to Linux the entire time you're developing this product. I don't actually see, from a product development standpoint, why the Linux version would ship after the one that's provided by a proprietary vendor that you cannot customize, that you have to license, and I'm sure there's a ton of bureaucracy and red tape you have to go through to get access to the operating system, versus the one that you could just download the ISO and ship with your project from day one.
My theory, honestly, that I stop and think about it is, it's like, look, okay, so Dell's under the mistaken impression that Microsoft is still their friend. Dell, let me let you in on a secret. They're competing with you on the hardware level. I don't know if you've been watching the commercials.
Have you met the Surface, Dell?
Yeah, they don't care about you anymore. Get off your butts and make Linux a first-class citizen. I'm not saying you have to dump Windows because I get it. You got a market there, but come on.
I think to underscore your point, if you look at who Microsoft is targeting the Surface to, they're going right after the MacBook Air. In their ads, they're like, it's better than a MacBook.
They are.
It has a USB port. And I think if you think about it, what is the number one competitor for Dell right now in this market, especially the XPS market? Probably the MacBook Air. And so you are absolutely right in that Microsoft is going directly after Dell's sweet spot. Meanwhile, still hitching their balls. That's a great one.
It's like we can't dump them completely.
Oh yeah, no, we're hitching. So it drives me crazy. But
it's like, you know what, whatever. And then of course we're Microsoft taking on the whole Apple crowd is that again, they don't get the culture. Apple people don't care about your freaking flippy thing.
Yeah.
They want their Photoshop. They want their iTunes. They want their iPhoto.
Yeah.
They don't care about your little transformery thing.
The Surface is not for them either.
But wrong target.
I could see it working in business. Just a couple more details about the laptop before we wrap up, because I do actually think once they ship the Linux version, it's going to be a fairly compelling model.
Oh, the hardware looks awesome.
You're going to be able to get an i3 on the low end and an i7 3.2 gigahertz on the high end. Yeah, Broadwell U family, which
and
is
if they
nice.
spent a little of that Microsoft budget on, I don't know, just kind of enhancing that battery life for Linux, you might have something there. But I'm just saying.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe. Anyways, so the new XPS line, check it out.
I have no opinions about this whatsoever. It's great. You should go on.
Yeah, right. I had a pretty pleasant surprise watching the CES coverage when I saw a brand new product that looks kind of interesting.
Yeah?
Running WebOS.
Nice.
Yeah.
WebOS is our friend.
So here's where it was. It was in an LG smartwatch that is designed to work with an Audi luxury car. And this video is going to show us a little bit about it. The UI looks pretty good.
Okay. It does.
Yeah.
Well, WebOS is an understated
great, right?
OS. It really
I agree.
is.
I completely agree. All right, so this video is coming from Android Central, and they're going to show us a little bit of the UI here. It's a great video. So you can see right there, like it's got a touch screen, and you can flip it around. It's got physical buttons.
That's good.
It's round, which I think is really nice because, the Apple Watch is square, and I think round is really appealing. Plus, it doesn't get caught in your clothing as much.
Exactly.
You can see, so right there, he's unlocking the Audi car by tapping the screen. Kind of crazy. Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's like we've arrived at Knight Rider.
And you can see how he's able to swipe through the apps at a fairly good pace. The speed seems to be pretty good.
Well, it's WebOS. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like it needs
got
to be used.
Nice, subtle animations.
Props on the hardware buttons, too. I agree.
Yeah. It looks like a really well-built... and when I was talking to the Mumble Room, they made the comment that I almost like the idea of pairing a watch with my car more than my phone because I don't change my car or my watch very often. So those two things kind of have the same shelf life for me. So in a way, I like the idea of a car companion watch more than a phone companion watch.
I've wanted one since Knight Rider.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I was going to say, I literally, I'm trapped. I'm tied up on a chair in a room by bad guys. I want my car to come crashing through the wall.
So here is some of the stuff they're sort of like showing it could work.
Yeah.
No kidding. They're talking about using existing sensors that are in cars that they're shipping today, using a software update to make them self-driving aware. Then you press a button on the watch and you say, Audi, come to my location. The car unparks itself and drives to you. And then when you get to wherever you go, Audi, go park. And it goes and parks itself.
Audi, turbo boost. I mean, that's all it's
It's
missing.
like Batman and Knight Rider combined, into one thing, and it's powered by a Linux wristwatch.
Get me a serious fro and a leather jacket, and I'm sold. I'm sorry, I'm tight-fitting jeans, and I'm good to go. I'm Hasselhoff, man.
Sony announced that their line of high-end TVs will ship with Tizen, which is a pretty big deal.
That's interesting.
And I believe another vendor, I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, announced that their line would run with Android TV, which is Linux again.
I think Tizen's kind of got an edge in that. I think it's different and unique enough to be interesting.
And lean.
Yeah, and Android's kind of like, let's put a big bloated thing on there. I don't know.
Android, you do Android when you want a whole ecosystem. Yeah. All right, now here's maybe the craziest gadget that I saw, and I'm really curious to get your take on this.
Okay.
You're ready for this, Matt. This wireless charger that will charge devices up to 15 feet away. You could be 15 feet away from this thing using your phone in your hand, and it's getting wirelessly charged, and it runs Linux.
And so are the people in the room. So immediately my first thinking is like, I'm not one of those, people that thinking that like too much EM's going to like bake my brain or anything. But I think when you have something that's that powerful to charge that far away, I want to see the specs.
All right, here we go. See, I had the same reaction. So here we go.
Microwave.
So it's called the Watt Up, which I love. And
that's cool.
Now here's why this might make you feel a little bit better.
Okay.
It uses Wi-Fi-like beamforming technology to wirelessly charge compatible mobile devices up to 15 feet away. The devices now it uses the same 5.7 to 5.8 gigahertz frequency bands as high-end Wi-Fi. Focused on patent and trademark pending beam-forming technology. Gets you the 15 feet. Using the always open 2.4 Bluetooth low energy, it connects to the device.
Okay, that's
communicates with the device to get its needs. How you doing, baby? Do you need a charge? It asks your phone that. Come sit on my couch and have it recharge. Charge. Because you can sit anywhere, right? Sit on my couch and get recharged. And you can charge more than one device at once. And because it's talking, in fact, you can go up to 12 devices. It'll talk to all the devices, see who needs the most charge, and it can send the most power to that device to manage all of it. And then what priority those devices should be in. Of course, you get a UI on your smartphone to manage all of it.
I like that.
Obviously. Now, here's the downside. Here's the UI. Here's the downside. You got to have a baller device, like a Nexus 5 or something like that. Or maybe even something specifically that has their chip built into it. The devices must have BLE as well as an integrated Watt-Up receiver chip. Boom, right there, right?
Yeah. And we'll give them a pass on that and say that's a first-generation mistake. Yeah. Well, and that Gen 2, they're going to clue into that's not going to really...
By Gen 2, they'll start working with OEMs to build it in.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Or, you go something like you get a case, and you say this case has the receiver in it, you just keep your device.
There you go.
Like for a tablet around your house, you could have it,
that would be fine.
And your tablet's always got a full charge.
As long as you're able to keep that barrier to entry reasonable. I mean, obviously you got to have enough power to run the thing, but, Yeah, okay.
So here's what to do. The chips in the devices, in the end devices, convert focused radio waves into DC power using a mathematical array. Specialized MMNO antennas, which is like multi-something antennas.
Right.
So they have the same kind of beam-forming antenna receivers in the device that the transmitter has, so they go reach out to each other and charge over essentially the same radio frequencies as Wi-Fi, but the chips in the phone or tablet or whatever it is convert those Wi-Fi frequencies into power. Somehow, using magic.
Can I get an adapter for my tinfoil hat? Because if I can do that, then I can actually, charge my energy levels. Like when I'm kind of like, I'm tired, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be cool.
Linux Gizmos talks about turning your brain into jelly. They say the company, Egregious, or Energis, probably, not Egregious, assures us that since Watt-Up uses the same frequencies as Wi-Fi and cordless phones, our gray matter will be no more discombobulated than usual. The RF energy is split into numerous microwave forms, so the energy density at one point in the room is extremely low. Cellular frequencies are actually much more penetrative than the recharging.
Yeah, they are actually. So that's fair. Like I said, my big concern was how much power was being pumped into my face. You know what I mean?
Matt's really gone crazy. Okay.
Tinfoil hats, man.
All right, here's one that maybe will be a little more appealing, and it's pretty cool. Intel debuted their computer stick. It's a full Windows or Linux PC in an HDMI dongle. Now, you get the Windows version for $149, a Linux version for $90. Not bad.
Nice.
So if you're familiar with the Chromecast, it looks like that, but a little bit bigger.
That's like a Chromecast with functionality. I like it. That's cool.
So you plug it in over HDMI right there to the device, so it can be at the back of a monitor or a TV. It doesn't have to be a TV.
Oh, that sells me right there.
USB port for accessories, micro USB port for charging, and a power button.
I like that. I love the fact that monitor compatible.
Right there for expansion, micro SD slot.
See, there's so many people I can say, they need a computer. They really don't need like a full-on computer, but tablets aren't going to cut it. Boop, there you go.
Get them a monitor with HDMI plugs in the back, right?
Telling you, and most do. Most come with it these days.
Like kiosk systems and malls and whatnot. This is killer. So it's called the Intel Compute Stick. It's a full Bay Trail PC with a complete USB port, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth, and a micro SD expansion slot. And, of course, it'll be able to run Linux. So Ars Technica got a chance to hold it and check it out and play with it. They say it's bigger and bulkier than simple sticks like the Chromecast or the Fire TV stick.
It's a computer for Kirk. I mean, obviously, yeah.
But it's kind of comparable, and it's might be big enough to block an HDMI port, another one if you have really tight HDMI spacing. So on a TV.
True.
But on a monitor, not a
kiosks. People that just need like
or extender cord.
Oh,
or
totally.
An extender cord, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the micro USB is used for power. So it's kind of like the Chromecast for us to have separate power. 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage, 1 gigabyte of RAM on the Linux version, and 8 gigabytes of storage on the Linux version.
So why do that? Why,
less resources needed?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No,
Cheaper? $90?
Yeah, okay.
Because you go from 150 to 90.
Now you got me. Okay, that's good.
And here's what Intel says. Probably going to be Ubuntu, but because it's just an x86 computer, it's just as easy as installing a distribution on any PC, Intel
just
says.
install whatever desktop makes you happy.
But whatever you want, because it's all Intel parts, going to have all open source drivers, and you've got a Fedora, Arch,
cool.
Easy.
Okay.
Pretty neat. And this has HDMI in, that has HDMI in. That $90 stick would turn either one of these monitors into a full-fledged computer because it's got a USB port. You hook up the keyboard, you're done.
I can think of so many uses for that. And even with small businesses that want a kiosk-like experience, but don't necessarily have $5 or $6 grand to drop into an appliance.
Yeah, some super expensive appliance.
Sure.
Yeah, this is and if you're a little savvy or somebody could set up for you, you're good to go. You could have a nice Linux-powered display for $90 in the price of a monitor.
Smell of business.
And even a touchscreen like this one here, this you could go like what was this? This is like $200 for this touchscreen, and you could have that hooked up to the USB port, and you could have a kiosk for $90 with touchscreen interface.
Booth at the mall, that with I'm telling you, you'd be like a baller. People because no one's ever heard of this thing. They're like, wow, that's great. I want one. Mark
and
that
if worst thing happens and somebody were to steal it, well, you're out $90.
Yeah, right. It's like the monitor was more expensive. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Matt. Well, that's the Linux Action Show's look at CES for 2015. We're about to welcome Stefano onto the show and talk about the Mate desktop and what an interesting project it is and where it's going and what the future holds. But first, I want to tell you about our segment sponsor, System 76. Head over to system76.com right now and go grab yourself a box that's built, born, designed to run Linux. Stop fighting with your hardware and get to play with your Linux. It is hands down when somebody asks what's the best Linux experience you can have, it's to get a system that's built and designed to run Linux. That way you don't have to fight with things like that. But also, as you become a more experienced Linux user, you start to appreciate the vendors who have been around for a really long time, maintaining a presence in the Linux ecosystem, contributing to the community, pushing things forward, and being thought leaders in the area. And that's also an area where System 76 really stands out. And that's something that as you become a more seasoned Linux user, you learn to appreciate a little bit more, and even more reason to go to system76.com. Tell them the Linux Action Show sent you. Get yourself something great. Oh, man, I got to tell you, I've been eyeballing the Ratel Performance. For a long time, I've been buying NUCs for like little standalone Skype jobs.
Right.
But, I'm learning that the NUC is just not quite enough. And I think I look at that Ratel Performance with its expansion slots, so I could add in like a capture card.
Exactly. You can make it grow with you.
Yep, that's a really nice rig, and it starts at a great price. System76.com. Okay, Matt, well, I'm super excited to welcome Stefano onto the Linux Action Show, developer of the Mate desktop. Stefano, welcome to Linux Action Show, and could you pronounce your last name for us?
I don't understand.
Could you pronounce your last name for us? Because I don't think...
Karapetsas.
Okay, good. I'm glad I had you pronounce that. So, would you mind giving our audience a brief background of what the Mate desktop is and how it got started?
Okay, Mate desktop is fork of the GNOME 2 version. When the GNOME developers developed the third version of GNOME, completely different from the previous one. Me and a group of people were sad because we can't use our favorite desktop. Mm-hmm. So we started to rename everything. The first thing was rename everything from GNOME to Mate to keep the two desktops that can coexist together in all the distributions. And after we start to continue the development of the GNOME 2, like was our idea of this traditional desktop. Keeping the same interface and supporting the new technology and so on. Some new features, but always small features, not big ones like was GNOME 3.
So keeping it very traditional, but also it seems to be, though, that the Mate desktop is electively moving certain elements forward, and I find that to be pretty interesting. Where do you draw the line between new shiny features and keeping it to the traditional style of how something's done?
Yes, this is a bit hard when me and the other developers choose which features support and which one not.
Yeah.
Which implement and what not. Often users ask for something and we can't implement it because we think that is not the goal of our traditional desktop.
Sure, I'd imagine. And is that just a constant line that you walk?
We don't know. We are developing this desktop and we will see what implement, what not.
So the reason why I ask is because I've noticed that for Arch users right now, there is a repository out there where you can download Mate that uses GTK3. Is this
Yes.
Can you talk about the transition to GTK3?
Yes, this is more hard than we will think at the beginning when we started to support GTK3, because more than GTK3 now is GNOME 3 library, so they don't care so much about other desktops. So because GNOME 3 support only the latest GTK3 library, we are forced to support more libraries at the same time because not all distributions use the same GTK3 version. So we must support more versions together, and it's not so simple.
Sounds like it makes more work for you.
Yes, a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right now, Mate is able to run with GTK3, but not so well. There are a lot of bugs due to these problems.
Are there specific features or advantages that GTK3 will bring to the Mate desktop?
Can you repeat?
Is there a feature or an enhancement that GTK3 provides the Mate desktop that makes all of this work worth it?
When we will support completely GTK3, of course, there will be support for Wayland.
Oh, right.
Okay.
And,
Of course.
of course,
Yeah. I guess, is Wayland the biggest motivator really for the GTK3 switch? Is it Wayland?
yes, it's one of the big
Yeah.
goals, GTK3 switch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Of course, we will support always both GTK2 and GTK3. All distribution can choose if compile Mate with GTK2 or GTK3. We will support both.
Okay. Is there one single application that makes GTK3 necessary?
No.
Okay.
So it's
We
a
will
wide
support
variety of
always-
things.
Okay.
always both.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Can I ask just a real basic question? The chat room was wondering, does Mate stand for anything in particular?
Because the first person that started the fork, Kerberos, was an Arch Linux user, was from Argentina.
Oh, okay.
And so he chosen this name for Mate, the popular beverage from Argentina.
Oh, okay.
Now, the chat room also, taking another question from the chat room. We talked about Wayland support. Is there any discussions in the project about anything that needs to be done for Mir support?
Mir support, we didn't start to talk yet.
Yeah.
Of course, our plan will be to support Mir too.
Yeah.
First, we have to complete the GTK3 transition.
So, Stefano, after the GTK3 transition, after that's done, what is your big feature, big thing for Mate that you're looking forward to? Is it just continual refinement, or is there something you want to introduce to the desktop specifically?
No, at the moment we don't have so big new features in our plan. Of course, we want to improve all applications with new, but of course, our first goal is also to listen the users. So for the new features, we will always listen the user in our GitHub repository. We will listen.
So here's where I'm going is I've noticed that the Mate desktop is getting a lot of adoption in thin client roles, remote server roles, and business desktop deployments. And I wonder, are you seeing that? And do you see that maybe there's any changes you might make to make Mate a better fit in those environments if it's not already?
Yes, we are always working to together with the developers of the thin clients or the remote application to integrate as more as possible their modification to Mate to support this kind of Mate usage.
So, Stefano, I noticed also you're the developer of GNOME main menu, something that I love quite a bit. Is there any plans to work something like that into Mate?
It's a Mate project, but we will keep it in the GNOME infrastructure. Mainly because it was abandoned by GNOME developers, so we are keeping it in the GNOME infrastructure. Okay. It's like a Mate project, but in their infrastructure, they agree with this, so we don't see any problem.
Sure. And really, the last question I have for you, when the Mate project launched, my initial thought was, that seems like a job that's going to get really hard over time to maintain. Like as the GNOME project continues on its trajectory,
Yes.
has it gotten harder as the Mate project has gotten older and as other projects continue their trajectory? Has your workload increased? Is it become more difficult?
Yes, of course, it's really hard to maintain the Mate at the moment because we don't have companies behind. We are really a small group of developers. And really, we lose a lot of time to support the new technologies. We can't focus all our time to implement new features, but always we have to solve bugs because of new external libraries and so on. So of course it's really hard to maintain this project.
But do you see a long term? Is it for you? Is it a long term thing?
I think so, because now is some years that we are going on. The team is always increasing.
Good.
With time we are always finding new developers, new contributors. Now a group of people started to write our custom documentation. So I think that all our on IRC, on forum, we have always more people that is interested on this project. So I think that we can survive.
Well, not to couch it necessarily, but it sounds like maybe you could use even more volunteers. Where should people go to get involved with the project? What do you need, and how would you like those people to approach the project?
Of course, we need developers to fix bugs, to implement new features. Because often we can't implement new features also because we don't have manpower.
Right.
Of course, if people enjoy the project and implement new features, we have nothing against.
Right. Absolutely makes sense. Well, I can tell you as somebody who's worked in the traditional IT environment, in the thin client environments, if I was still deploying Linux workstations today, without a question, I'd be doing it with Mate, and I think it's a great project, and I hope that you're able to stick with it for a long time, because there is a huge category of users out there that, as those other desktops continue on with their vision, I think Mate will become even more important to them, especially with some of the developments we're going to see very soon with new display window managers and all these things. So. And that brings us to the end of this week's show. But Matt, we have some big announcements to get to before we get out of here this week. Episode 347 going down in the history books right now. So I mentioned at the top of the show, 2014 was really all around a fantastic year for the Linux Action Show, for Jupiter Broadcasting in a whole. There was one thing we did, though, that I didn't think went exceptionally well. In fact, we shut it down pretty early because we weren't super happy with the results. And that was How To Linux. How To Linux was it was something we really wanted to do. We recognize there is a need for high quality how-to content like that, and we've heard from the community. I mean, we've been asked every day since we put the show on hiatus, what's going to happen with How To Linux? Well, we're going to be relaunching How To Linux very, very soon, and we've really got it figured out this time, I think. We've identified from our mistakes what went wrong, kind of the wrong direction we took, and to make that happen, we're also going to make sure that we have the right people working on it. So Matt and producer Q5Sys are going to run a lean, mean how-to machine right down to the nuts and bolts of what you need to know. You get in, you get out, you get the content, and they're already working on it. So Matt will be leaving the Linux Action Show at the end of January to head that up because we want them fully focused and fully dedicated on that. So we hope to have yet another weekly Linux show, and I think Matt is the right guy to run that.
You can never have too much Linux.
No, and really, when Matt first came on, he started with the how-to segments, and people have always loved those. And now I think with Matt working with Q5, we'll do this in a format that's going to be really nice. I think you guys will really like it. So we'll give you more information about that very soon and when you can expect to see it and all kinds of stuff. So we're in the early stages right now, but they've really got some great ideas, and we have a lot more details.
Pretty exciting. And it's going to be nice, easy to digest bites. It's not going to be like a ton of show. You know?
Yeah. So Matt's going to hang on last until the end of January, and then over February, they'll be spinning that up. And so to help step in Matt's role, Noah, of course, you're familiar with producer Noah, will be joining as the co-host of the Linux Action Show. And Noah's joining us right now on Skype. Noah, why don't you say hello to the folks? And I'm sure most people probably know you from all of our on-location coverage, although I noticed you're not wearing the Google Glass today.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's like something's missing.
I see. You'll wear it. Oh, there you go.
That's Noah.
There we go. Now I recognize him. That's good. That's good. I was going to say, man.
Like my Christmas card.
I was going to say, if you took a Christmas card picture with Google Glass on, you could come on the show with Google Glass on.
That's awesome.
Here's the thing: my Christmas cards don't have contact forms or feedback forms, and so I don't have to look at subreddit posts about how much people hate
Oh my
Google
God, no
Glass.
kidding.
That is a good call. That is okay. That's fair enough. So Noah, for people that maybe aren't totally familiar with what you do outside of the show, can you tell people about your day job and how you work with Linux?
Sure. So 7 or 8 years ago, I used to work for a company, and I was brought onto the company to do front-end support. And eventually I started doing server support as a medical institution. And at the time, when I came on board, they were using Windows servers, Windows on the front end.
Oh, that's no good.
No, not good at all. We have to change that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had no formal certification. I had no real formal experience with Linux. And I just went home and I said, Matt, I noticed they have a package for Linux. Wonder if I could get that to work. So I take a server and I get it to work. And I start the server up in my house just to play with it. And every 6 months, the Windows server would crash at work. And I would go in and fix it. And I'd get home at night and I'd be like, well, son of a gun, that Linux one's still working.
I don't have to fight with this one. It just works for me. Yeah.
That's not because of Linux. That's just because I'm the only user there and there's 50.
I don't know. It might also be a little bit because of Linux.
Sliver. Yeah. So we continue on. About a couple months into it, I tell my supervisor, I said, hey, listen, I don't know if this is going to work. I really don't know that much about it, but it sure seems awful stable. Would you be willing to give this a shot? He goes, well, we're buying a new computer anyway. Why don't you put it on there, see how it works? And we'll try it. We'll see what happens. So we put it in, and it ran. To the best of my knowledge, it's still running to this day. It was never taken offline.
Wow.
And as it proved itself in the back end, they allowed me to move it into the front end. So we actually swapped out all of the workstations for. At first they were CentOS. Now they're actually running Ubuntu. And as I saw that work, and all of a sudden this gear clicked in my mind, and I said, this could work. They're saving money. Things are more stable. It's easier for me. I enjoy coming to work now.
Right.
That's awesome.
And so I started looking at other places that had kind of similar challenges, and I said, I bet I could implement this everywhere. And so halfway through my freshman year of college, I filed the forms with the state. I started a business called AltaSpeed, and I went into business with the sole purpose of converting as many people as I can, primarily in the business world, to Linux. Yeah. And so we've taken over. We're the largest IT provider for the hospitality industry in Grand Forks. I think we have 9 hotels, and we'll go in and essentially we'll look at everything and say, well, the back end is pretty easy to swap out. The guest computers, guest kiosks, where they have office machines, stuff like that, those get swapped out and Linux gets put in there.
Yeah.
And then we've taken over the network stack, and so the free Wi-Fi and the admin network and stuff like that, we install and maintain that. And so we've done everything from bare buildings, pull wire in, put security cameras in, put servers in, put workstations in, put access points in. All the way up to we've come into a place that has existed for 20 years and said, how can we revamp this and make this work a little bit better? And I think the fundamental difference between our company and most other IT companies is, for us, Linux it's not a punchline, right? It's a core belief to everyone that works here. I've got a great team of 7 people, and every one of them, they use Linux on their laptop. They live it day in, day out, and we won't implement a solution if it's not compatible with Linux. If you ask us to come install Microsoft Office, we're happy to do that. It's not a solution we're going to push, and it's not a solution you're going to get a lot of enthusiastic support.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I
know what you
respect
mean
that.
there. That was how I was too.
At this point, we're established enough that I won't even take on clients if there's not something to be gained in the open source world. If I can't push Linux, if I can't use Linux, if we can't install Linux, go somewhere else.
Yeah,
because
and
it's just not what we're good at, and it's not what we're practiced at. And as technology changes, as Microsoft continues to make changes, it's just going to get harder for us to support.
This is one of the reasons why I think you'll make a great co-host. Is you're so enthusiastic about Linux adoption, and you're working with it every single day, and you're helping people adopt it. I think that's going to be great. Also, you travel like a madman. We've been doing a lot of on-location stuff. In fact, for your first episode on February 1st, you'll be here in studio, and we'll be doing that. He's currently building out a studio at his current location. We have a pretty cool setup to make that happen. And of course, we're just going to expand our on-location coverage. Now, when we're at events, we'll always have somebody there. When an event we're at, it's going to be a co-host of the Linux Action Show. Whether it's me or Noah, if we're at that event, it's going to be a bigger presence now by default. And I think that's just going to expand the quality and the amount of our on-location and live coverage. So I'm really excited about that, too. And also, just picking your brain about the stuff you're implementing day to day and the solutions you're coming up with and working that into content for the show, I think will be great as well, Noah.
Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity. It is outstanding to, it's one thing to go into a business that has been so ingrained with Microsoft products and proprietary solutions, and then try and fight with them.
Yeah.
It's not really fighting, but the management, they always want to agree because they look at the budget and they go, wow, same thing, we accomplished the same thing for less money, they're all in. But all the staff, it's a different story. They're going, well, why can't we have Office? Well, why can't we have this? Well, why do we have to save money? Why can't we spend the money every other?
Oh my God.
But I want Excel.
Yeah. So it'll be nice to transition, not so much transition, but add a place where people want to hear.
Are already enthusiastic.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's very true. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, and it's going to be a really great lineup. Q5Sys will also still be contributing to Linux Action Show, and so will Matt. So we're going to have more content, more Linux shows, and we're going to expand our coverage. Linux Unplugged stays the same. Matt will still be my co-host on Linux Unplugged, and we'll be doing our talk show. And of course, Noah's going to be welcome to join us anytime on Linux Unplugged. We have an open mumble room, so you guys are always welcome to join us out there as well. Just have to do a mic check.
One last thing, if you don't mind, Chris.
Yeah,
I'll just add, for any other true Linux enthusiasts, I want everyone to know that every piece of device, every device that I'm using, every piece of equipment in here is powered by Linux. There's no Windows, there is no Mac, there's not even Android or iOS. The camera is running into an HDMI converter or a capture card, which is plugged into a Linux box. The box in front of me here, which you can't see, is running Linux. My laptop, which you can't see, is running Linux. Everything in this room, the audio card, that box that's doing Skype, that's all running Linux. Everything in here is Linux.
That's awesome. Love it. Love it. And we're already experimenting with some on-location gear that allow us to do live events, all powered by Linux. So when we go to these things, we're covering a Linux event using Linux. And Noah is going to eventually wear me down and make sure that every piece is all Linux, I think.
little bit at a time. He's going to chip at the wall.
I think that's his long-term goal. That's probably why he took the position. It's because he figures he'll wear me down over time. That's fair. You're welcome to try, sir. I invite you.
Noah and I joke about it all the time. It's good.
Yeah. All right, Noah. Well, I look forward to seeing you out here on the 1st and kicking off a new series of the show. And also, you're planning to go to Scale, right?
Yep. Yeah, we'll be there. It's February 25th and 26th. And so one of my buddies, William, is going to be joining me, and he actually works for Google, and he is down in San Francisco, and we haven't exactly decided if I'm going to fly into San Francisco and then drive with him to LA, or if we're just going to meet in LA. I think the tentative plan at this point is just to meet in LA, but we're going to be there.
Cool.
And
William is a really great guy, so that's really neat that he's going with you.
Smart guy. So yeah, it'll be outstanding.
Very cool.
Definitely.
So that's if you want to meet Noah in person, your next opportunity will be Scale, and then, of course, Linux Fest, and, of course, tuning into the Linux Action Show on Sundays. All right, Noah, well, thanks for coming on, and have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, well, that does bring us to the end of this week's episode of the Linux Action Show. Don't forget, you can contribute by going to linuxactionshow.reddit.com. Stories, news items, community interaction, suggestions for the show, feedback. We have a feedback thread for every single episode. Post over there, linuxactionshow.reddit.com. Help make this show even better and join the thousands and thousands and thousands of people over there doing it. It's really kind of an awesome thing. It's kind of makes it an open source podcast. It does. Also, you can email us. Go over to jupiterbroadcasting.com/contact, choose Linux Action Show from the drop-down, and send us your amazing note, and then our robots will efficiently deliver it to the right destination. And last but not least, you can watch us live over at jblive.tv. Sundays, 10 a.m. Pacific. Go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar to get that converted to your local time zone automatically.
That's right.
And Matt, you got anything going on over at Datamation?
I think probably skip over that and just go straight to the webpage. For those of you that are wanting to kind of like keep in contact, keep up with me and stuff like that, I've made it easy.
Look at this. This is awesome, dude. MattHartley.com.
Yes.
That is badass.
You hit the see more button there. It'll pop you down a little bit.
I love that picture. How have I never seen that picture before?
Oh, I don't know if I've ever had it up. But anyway, I've got
really
the shows.
Man.
And
this
whatnot.
is really cool.
And people can actually subscribe to the mailing list and just get the latest of what's going on. For example, How to Linux, when that comes out, be the first to know. Otherwise, we have feeds and stuff at the bottom you can follow.
Yeah, it's a great way to keep up with. That's so cool. MattHartley.com.
I thought the megaphone is a nice touch.
And then whatever you're working on, people can find it there. Yeah,
that's right.
That's a really great idea, Matt.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget you can catch more of Matt and I on Linux Unplugged on Tuesdays, and you're welcome to join us. Just go to the calendar to find out when that is. And if you got a mic, you can join the Mumble Room and share your opinion on events. Be part of our virtual lug.
That's right.
And the faux show is back, so be sure you check out the faux show this Sunday. It's going to be a great episode. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning this week's episode of the Linux Action Show. We'll see you right back here next week. So I went couch shopping this Friday. Yeah.
Wow.
And because the studio doesn't have a couch.
Yeah, that's something we're.
This needs to be a place where you can chill and relax.
Right.
It's got to be, Matt.
So it's that balance between cushioned and pillowy, and yet still firm and supportive. Right.
It's something you can watch TV on for a few hours, lay on the couch with somebody, that kind of thing. And I'm sitting here thinking, and those of you who've been watching a long time, that I've been talking about getting a couch in this studio since before we moved into this studio. Yeah. I've been talking about TV too, but one thing at a time.
I picture you in Costco checking out the couches. I don't know why.
Well, actually, I was. Yeah, I was. Actually,
that's what I would do. But, I'm just saying.
I'll show you how this is how ridiculous I am.
Because that's where I get my pants, or that, or thrift store.
Oh well, yeah.
It depends. Usually depends where I'm at the time.
That's pretty much my. But
if I want like really good new jeans, I will Costco.
Yeah.
Shirts too.
Or a nice new shirt or something.
Yeah, right. Because it's like, oh hey, I'm getting milk, I'm getting egg. Ooh, pants.
So this is the couch. This is but speaking of Costco, where is it? Yeah. So here I am taking. This is me taking pictures.
God, I called that.
Yeah, you totally did. So I'm like,
I've been trying to convince my wife I want a couch with the cup holders.
Yeah.
And she says no, it doesn't flow with the whatever the hell.
Yeah.
It's like no, I want that.
So I was looking at different couches at Costco, but the thing is, we have limited room here at JB1.
Yeah, you're kind of married to the corner.
Yeah.
If you go that route.
Yeah, exactly. So then I found this one here,
and whatnot,
which I thought this couch I'm liking quite a bit because you see you've got it's kind of got a little bit of a retro style. It's not too big.
You get that turkey off of it. You could probably take it out to the car. I mean, this guy's like sitting on your couch.
Who's this jerk?
I mean,
sitting on the couch.
You're trying to take a picture of some butt bags all sitting on your couch. Like,
I'm just saying, my intention is by Linux Fest Northwest that there will be a solid place to take a nap.
That would be not right.
Yeah, that'd be.
And if it produced food. I mean, that would be neat.
I don't take a lot of selfies. My wife is a selfie queen. I don't take a lot of selfies.
That's a good one, though.
I'm trying to take a selfie with the baby girl last night. Tongue comes out.
That's right.
She's trolling my selfie.
She's setting the pace, and you just got to keep up with her. That's all.
Yeah, she is.
She's like, Dad, no, this is what we're doing. Get on board.
She's totally ahead of me. It's true. I did. See,
That's awesome.
I eventually gave in, so you can.
That's
see.
awesome, little auto awesome.
Yeah, I love the auto awesome.
That worked out really well. That's cute.
See, look, you can watch my realization, what she's doing there. You see that? Watch. What the? Right there.
Wait, what? Kind of a what moment? Yeah. Oh yeah. Nice.
All right, so let's do a Linux Action Show, episode 347.
Yeah.
We're done talking about couches. Well,
No
not
couches.
really. I could actually talk about couches. So, anyways, I could actually keep going. So
The Couch Action
You know
Show.
what always happens when you go to these furniture stores? What always happens? You go to a furniture store and you end up getting. They try to sell you a mattress every time.
Yep.
They try to sell you a mattress, and so I get a business card from the salesman who's literally whited out the last guy's name.
Oh yeah, no, this happens at a certain statewide popular furniture store that we've been to when we bought a Chase not too long ago.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Same thing where they white out because they got turnover.
And they follow you.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Oh yeah, he does. Would not leave
God.
me alone. It was so. And let me tell you this too. I go there, and so he starts giving me the mattress pitch, and I'm just there to have fun.
Yeah,
so I'm
right,
like.
right.
All right, Des, have at it. Tell me your mattress story.
Right. Like
so
you
he starts
care.
talking about mattresses, and I start mentioning, well, I have a pillow top mattress.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
See, I'm one of those smartphone formed in my body.
Before I finish even getting out of my mouth, Des, the salesperson there, just starts trash talking pillow top mattresses.
Really?
And the thing is, it was only like a couple of years ago that I bought that mattress from that very store. From that very store. So he's trash talking the product that I bought from there 2 years ago.
That's not fair.
Oh, a pillow mattress. He starts throwing down. Oh, I left my Nexus 5 upstairs like a dope.
Well, there was one on the desk out there. I don't know if that's a phone.
That's actually not a phone. It's a no phone.
What?
It's a no phone. Have you seen the no phone?
No.
All right, I'm going to go get the no phone. I'll show you.
Is this like a snipe? I feel like I'm being trolled. Things are happening I don't understand.
Oh, what the? It's the no phone. This is why you got to watch Tech Talk today, man. It's
So you go with the other carriers, you end up with one of these.
So Angela and I do a Kickstarter of the week on Tech Talk today, and so that was a Kickstarter we backed. It's called the No Phone, and so we started then we got it. We did our review. It's a great battery life, water resistant.
It must be for like when you're designing stuff.
Oh, we did get the selfie upgrade actually.
Oh.
Yeah, so we got the no phone with the selfie upgrade. I don't do selfies, but it's on Angie's phone, and the selfie upgrade is.
So you got a front-facing camera on that?
No. It's just they just give you a mirror and you just you tape it on, and that's
and it's like foil.
That's the selfie upgrade. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.